Good afternoon and welcome everyone to Coalition Silver League Week 1 here, and we've got a game on our hands between HypE Esports and Rawr Yordlez. I'm Random Minion Caster, and I'll be casting the games today between these two teams, and as you can see, their drafts have been completed here. So on the blue side for game 1, we've got HypE Esports with Neptune Rises in the top lane, substitute Rinks in the jungle. Tommy Pepper is going to be their mid laner, and the bot lane duo of the Rejected King and Fluff Get Smashed as support. On the red side, it's going to be Rawr Yordlez with Mr. Sarux in the top lane. In the jungle, I don't even know how to pronounce it. P3RC Nowitzki? Perk Nowitzki, perhaps? Just going to call him Nowitzki for the rest of this game. In the mid lane, we've got Duero. Bot lane going to be Odd Lanor and Winter 07. And in terms of bans here, HypE Esports going to lose one ban for the substitute Rings there. So their bans are going to be Pyke and Caitlyn, Ezreal and Morgana. For Yordlez, it's going to be Tryndamere, Xerath, Senna, Kai'Sa, and Varus. So a lot of ADC focus here for both teams. Now in terms of picks, HypE Esports going to go with a bit of a protect the Kog'Maw comp. They've got Yuumi, Amumu, Garen, Orianna, and Kog'Maw. And that Garen, Neptune Rise has been spamming a lot of Garen recently in solo queue, really getting the hang of that champion, so it should be a very good top lane pick. And it's going to be a counter pick into that set for Yordlez as well. So Yordlez picking up set in their first pick here, followed with a Lee Sin, Veigar, Aphelios, and Leona. Sorry, that's not going to be a Lee Sin. The Lee Sin is a mistake there. It's actually a Sejuani. So it's going to be Set, Sejuani, Veigar, Aphelios, and Leona. So much more balanced composition there. A lot of AoE CC coming out with the Leona and Sejuani for Yordlez, and with the Baby Cage from Veigar as well. So we'll have a lot of zone control in those mid-game team fights. Aphelios, really strong scaling champion as well. Now in terms of the composition, the picks here from HypE Esports, they've got a bit more, as I said, of the protect the Kog'Maw composition. They've got the Yuumi and Orianna to provide shields, boosts, and heals to the Kog'Maw, keep him alive, and Amumu lots of AoE CC as well. Combined with the Orianna will give them a ball delivery system as well, and Garen can just go charging right in. We've seen the strength of a Garen Yuumi combination if the Garen gets ahead. So Yuumi will have options as to who she wants to hop onto and sort of get going there. Now besides the Garen, not really seeing any signature picks for either of the teams here. Nobody really spamming a lot of those champions, so it should be an interesting game, and my eyes are going to be drawn a lot to that top lane between Neptune Rises and Mr. Sarux. I do expect Neptune Rises to try and take advantage of his familiarity with that champion. Mr. Sarux not known to be a particular set player. He has played it in the past, so should be fairly strong with it. And the teams have loaded onto the Rift here, so we can just go ahead and load in with them here. And once again, HypE Esports on the blue side here, and we have Rawr Yordlez on the red side.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Now in terms of the players here, Neptune Rises, Rinks, Rejected King, all players who have played in the spring split before in the Coalition League, previously playing on, I believe it was Shadow Keepers there. So our familiar have been back in the league, and we are seeing an invade here coming out from the side of Rawr Yordlez, but it looks like they're just going to get the ward down. They do spot out Fluff Get Smashed, but will not be able to find them, and will just get the deep vision ward back right off there. So a little bit of action, and I hope to see more of this. We don't get a lot of level 1 invades, but they have a really strong team. They have the Leona, and there's no real level 1 CC coming out from the side of HypE Esports right now, unless Amumu decides to start Bandage Toss, which would mess Rinks up really hard in the early clear. Instead, both junglers going to back off and start on the bottom sides of the map here for both teams. As I was saying, some of these players have returned. On the side of Rawr Yordlez, it's a brand new team here. They've not been in the league before, so looking forward to seeing what they can provide here. As Shadowkeepers previously did play in the Gold League for Spring Split, that wasn't a Silver League, so they are used to playing against really strong players, and we'll sort of have to see how they do now in the Silver League. Rinks, also not known to be a jungle player, did play top and mid previously, known for the Teemo, the Maokai picks, and a bit of an Orianna, so Mumu going to be a new one coming out from Rinks, and I look forward to seeing the ganks they can get off and the pressure as well. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, we do see both the bot lanes trading, and it's going to be the Zenith Blade coming off Winter. He's not level 2 yet, so will not have the stun to follow up. Fluff gets smashed hopping off to get the shield back onto Rejected King, and that's going to be a good chunk of damage onto Rejected King, traded back onto Winter 07 here in the bot lane. And they have hit level 2, but instead they've gone out to ward instead of looking for that pressure. So Rejected King and Fluff Smash will be able to safely farm up under their turret. Top lane here, Sarux taking advantage of the fact that Set is a bit of a lane bully here, trading very, very well on to Garen, and even though Garen's passive means that he will be able to sustain up quite a bit at the lower levels, it's not going to have that much of an effect. Instead, the base regen stats of Set is going to play a bigger role here. So top lane, I do expect to see Mr. Sarux be able to take advantage if he continues trading like that. And again, the damage coming out is absolutely massive. The shield here is going to drop Neptune down to just under 100 health. Neptune going to have to be careful, going to have to heal up. Both of them just with the Duran shield here, no pot, so it'll just be a sustained battle there. And we do see Rinks waiting in the wings. He's going to try and get a gank off here, and Mr. Sarux is really far up. Nowinski was in the area but did back up and say he's going to go in. The shield might not be enough, but it will be. First blood coming down from Mr. Sarux. The shield absolutely massive, and the true damage as well, just the spike through Neptune Rise's health. And now Rinks going to just try and farm up this top wave. The teleport coming down from Neptune Rises now will mean that he can just come running in, and the movement speed buff absolutely huge. The flash coming out, the bandage toss is good, and they will be able to get the return kill onto Mr. Sarux, but Nowinski was just waiting in the wings there, will be able to get Ring. So it's a 1-for-1 right now. It's a question of if Nowinski can get out, because Neptune Rise is getting a lot of damage on. The stun comes up, but he's still waiting in the area. The flash coming out from both of them, and Neptune Rise is going to be able to get the last auto to pick up a double kill in that top lane. So it's 2-for-2 and completely even across both teams right now. But Mr. Sarux hoping to make a change that he gets a teleport into the top lane. We'll have the movement speed buff, but Neptune went running off as soon as he saw that. And he has double buffs. The blue buff not going to be very useful, but the red buff means that he's going to regen that much faster, as well as have that burn in upcoming trades here, which we see right now. And good dodge off of the true damage from Mr. Sarux there. It means that Neptune Rises will do very well in that trade, despite having already lost some health prior. But really only the dagger in that top lane for him compared to Mr. Sarux with the Vamp Scepter means he'll be able to sustain that much more here. Now Nowinski potentially looking for a gank in the bot lane. Does pick up the scuttle there, but there is a ward in that bush, so they will know. Rejected King and Fluff get smashed. Just going to back right off there, and Fluff gets smashed doesn't have a ton of mana either, so didn't really want to get into that. And Dragon has spawned. That's going to be Mountain Drake up as well, but probably not going to go for that kind of low top lane. The two of them, Sarux and Neptune Rise, is going to go in for some more trade, just non-stop fighting in that top lane there, and they're sacrificing some CS for it. We see 20 to 23 the CS in that top lane compared to 35 and 41 in the mid lane here, the solo laners. So a lot of CS being sacrificed in the name of trading damage in that top lane. We see Mr. Sarux splashing, and he's level 6, will get the showstopper, drag Neptune out from under start, and will get a kill there. So that level 6, very decisive use of the ultimate there, knowing that Neptune did not have the execute on Garen available yet, and Mr. Sarux getting an advantage in his lane. Neptune will not have the teleport this time to get back into lane right away. Bot lane, we do see Rinks here is going to clear out that pink ward, so Oddlander and Winter going to know to back off here. Rinks is still going to just try and walk that gank in. Will not find the gank, but that's Still pressure applied on that bot lane, relieving Rejected King and Fluff get smashed a little bit. They're down about 10 CS, but they're going to be able to close that gap to about 5 CS with that wave pushing in. And now Mr. Saruk's the one with double buffs in the top lane. They're hiding in a bush and will now go on to Neptune Rises here. Going to get a good trade, good burst of damage down. Mid lane Duero running for his life here. Didn't have to burn any summoners though. Really good on holding off of using any of his summoners there. Knew he could get out the gank, and that means Rinks once more unable to really find any kills here in the bottom side of the map. Once again, just fighting in that top lane, and the true damage will be enough. Neptune Rises going down here. That's really unfortunate. That was supposed to be a counter pick too. Neptune Rises picked his Garen after Mr. Sarux has already selected Set, and that's one of his most played champions in the top lane as well. So this does not bode well for the side of HypE Esports top lane, that he's having so much trouble already. And we do see Nowitzki sneaking that Mountain Drake here, Winter clearing out the vision in that tri-bush, so they have no clue that Nowitzki is taking the Mountain Drake, and that should be a free Drake over to the side of Rawr Yordlez. Easy take there, and top lane, a lot of damage going down into that top turret as well. Mr. Surix not needing much jungle pressure at all and handily winning that top side, so that's a huge advantage for them. Neptune's going to be able to clear out that pink ward in the bush there. It has been giving Mr. Surix the confidence to get so aggressive right now, and it seems to be going Rawr Yordlez away right now in terms of gold. They're 4-2, a lot of that in the top lane. In the bot lane, they have a CS advantage, and speaking of CS advantage in the bot lane, Winter going in now is taking a lot of damage. The Ignite coming down onto him. They will be able to secure the kill with the Cogmaw Living Artillery there, but Nowitzki is here, will be able to get the Glacial Prison down, and now Fluff gets smashed, also going to go down as well, but they are going to be able to return the kill onto Oddlander with the Cogmaw passive, just running in after his death, pick that up. That's a 2-for-2 trade in the bot lane, and they needed the help of the jungler for Yordles, and that means that Rinks is going to be able to just run right up to the Herald, knowing that Nowitzki was seen bot lane, will not be able to get here in time. Should be able to pick the Herald up for himself and return the objective favor here. Mr. Shark's going to have to be a little careful though. He is in a bit of a 2v1 situation should Rinks decide to go up, but Rinks just happy to pick the Herald and leave instead. So Mr. Sharks with the pink ward will be able to continue his pressure on to Neptune Rises. He's got a 2-level lead, which is absolutely massive when it comes to an isolated solo lane, especially in the top lane with 2 melee champions. So expect to see a lot more lane dominance coming out of that top lane here. Yeah, but for all that Rawr Yordles is ahead in their lanes right now, especially in that bot lane, that isn't going to be enough pressure to really win the trades. We saw that the Yuumi Cogmaw able to trade back quite evenly, and now mid lane, Ring's going to drop the Herald there, looking to get the kill. The Solar Flare comes out, will not get the stun, gets the slow, but doesn't get the pull-up Zenith Blade as Rinks flashes to safety, and Nowitzki now going after him, but will not have the Glacial Prison available, and Rinks going to be able to get up. They get 2 plates off that mid lane turret, and now the bot lane, Rejected King and Fluffs get smashed, rotating up to that mid lane. It's a 4v3, but Winter getting aggressive going in. The Zenith Blade comes in. Good flash from Rejected King will keep him alive, and Nowitzki gonna go down. Rejected King gonna barely survive, and Rinks now the target here. Can he get out? The shield is good, and it looks like yes he can. Duero not able to find him, but the re-engage, the bandage toss means that Rinks will go down, trading his life for Duero's instead, and that's ultimately going to be a 2-for-1 trade in the mid lane, but they do manage to shove out Rejected King, and Fluff gets smashed. So it's just going to be Tommy Peppers. They won't be able to get much more damage on that mid lane turret. Instead, it's going to be Oddlander just free farming that bot lane, getting a bit of CS lead, looking to get the turret damage there, looking to get plates. Does manage to get at least one for himself there, but for all that Rejected King is down, the CS that roam is good for him. He does manage to pick up 4 kills, has a bounty for himself, and is up about 500 gold there by roaming to the mid lane. So a bit of an advantage to the side of HypE Esports with their mid and bot lane right now, but it's really a question of if they can leverage that and stem the bleeding that they're getting from that top lane, where it's about 1,600 gold lead for Mr. Sarux. And it's a very, very even game right now. Only 1k gold difference right now. The Inferno Drake should be coming out in just about a minute. And Winter taking a ton of poke and abuse. Rings has to be careful though, because Nowitzki has found him. But it's a 3v1 as Nowitzki does not have the rest of his team to back him up. The Yuumi ultimate will root him up. And now Winter's deep in there, taking a lot of AoE damage. Solar Flare comes out and Rings might go down as Duero has arrived. Rejected King going down as well in the midst of that. We'll be able to pick up Winter 07 though, but Fluff gets smashed, is now alone, and a Yuumi without anybody to ride on is easy kills. And that's going to be a 3-for-1 there off Rings getting a little greedy, getting a little caught out, and his bot lane rotating up. The idea was good, but the execution unfortunately not matching reality. And now Mr. Starks going in, has the Blade of the Ruin King build. Doesn't have boots though, so Neptune Rise is going to be able to run himself to safety there, but the slow death in that top lane as Mr. Cirques continues to get damage on, continues to get plates on. And must say, Neptune Rise is doing quite well for himself. Only 23 CS, 22 CS behind, considering how much problems he's been having in lane is pretty decent here. But not getting much pressure. Rings has not gone top in the last couple of minutes here, as he's been focused on that bot lane. Inferno Drake has spawned now. We do see Rings and Nowitzki both in the area. Tommy Peppers, however, back in base, caught shopping and basing, while Duero is still in the mid lane. There's no teleports there. And a flash coming out from Neptune Rises to keep himself alive in that top lane. He will have to base, and that means that should be first turret over to the side of Rawr Yordlez as well as this Inferno Drake. And they do manage to pick it up. The poke coming out from Rejected King though is really good. The Solar Flare coming out, and they get the Zenith Blade as well as the Glacial Prison down at the same time. Fluff gets smashed, gonna be followed up here. That's gonna be 2 kills, but now they're kind of low, and Ring's gonna be able to walk it in. They're gonna pick up Winter 07 on the backline from Tommy Peppers, but Rings is just AoE crying, is doing a lot of work. They managed to pick up Oddlander and Nowitzki as well, and that's gonna be a 3-for-2, now potentially a 4 if Neptune can get this. He's running, doesn't have the flash, will be able to pick up Duero, but will go down to the Ignite and the turret. So a 4-for-3 at the end of the day. They're in favor of HypE Esports in terms of kills, but Rawr Yordlez did manage to pick up the Inferno, did manage to pick up the first turret in the top lane, and Mr. Saruk's going to continue shoving, going to get a ton of damage on this inner top lane turret as well. A good sidestep on the bandage toss means he'll be able to actually get 2 turrets on this push, both top lane, outer and inner turrets, and the showstopper coming down. The damage is good. Rejected King might go down here, but the split focus means that they will both survive. Both Rings and Rejected King will survive. Mr. Saruk's gonna go down there instead, and that's a bounty going the way of Kog'Maw. That's the last person you want to see getting it for Rawr Yordlez here. And again, lots of action, fairly even game. There's a 2.5 gold lead on the side of Rawr Yordlez, but you really can't see it in these fights, which have been so back and forth. 12-13, mostly that gold advantage just coming off the turrets here. So we'll have to see what happens in the team fights when Mr. Saruk starts joining them as well. And we start seeing those full 5v5 team fights. The teleport coming out, he's gonna have the movement speed buff, and Rejected King saw it too late, will get dragged in by Mr. Saruk. The Yuumi ultimate, really good disengage, will be able to keep Rejected King alive there. And Oddlander wasn't quite in position to follow up either at that point. Did run in, and now Mr. Saruk's getting collapsed on. Rings coming in, the Curse of the Sand Mummy there as well, and that's a very squishy set. The flash coming in as he's looking for Rejected King, and he will be able to find him. That's the flash from Rejected King to follow up as well, and that's Rejected King going down. I'm not sure, he didn't get the damage off onto Mr. Saruk's, deciding to run off to the side as well. So that's a 1-for-0 with really no consequence, and with that they might be going on to the Herald for the side of Rawr Yordlez, looking to get that. And the Primordial Burst from Duero will find Tommy Peppers under his turret. That's 2 kills now for Rawr Yordlez and the Herald as well. We do see Neptune Rise in the bot lane, going to look to pick up their first turret of the game in the bot lane to try and even things up a little bit, but it's just going to be a consolation prize, and they're going to give the Herald over to Winter 07.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
They do manage to get the bot lane turret, but they're gonna drop Shelly into the mid lane there. On the mid lane turret, they get the outer turret without even needing Shelly, so Shelly will be able to save some health, walk it in towards that inner turret here. And At this point, Shoei can chunk that inner turret for more than half. That's about 70% gone with just the Shoei engage. And that's going to be a free turret. Glacial Prison coming out. It finds Rejected King. Lots of damage. Ring trying to re-engage, but will not be enough. A beautiful command shockwave there to pull all of them in. Mr. Stark is going to go down. So that's a 1-for-1 trade. But that is the mid, outer, and inner turret down in that one push. And it looks like things slowly starting to go Rawr Yordlez's way here in terms of these fights. But Winter 07 caught basing. Will give a free kill over to Rings there, making a 2-for-1. And HypE Esports salvaging what was a really bad situation. Now Nowinski getting caught out, trying to rotate into position, and it's going to be Outlander stepping out a little bit, gets hit by the Yumi ultimate, by the Curse of the Sad Mummy, and now they can go for Nowinski here. Just really questionable play coming off the side of Rawr Yordlez. A lot of missed positions here. Winter getting caught basing. Nowinski got caught, running through the enemy team, trying to find his way to safety, his pathing there, and then Outlander getting killed because he tried to back up, and suddenly things swinging back the way of HypE Esports. They might be able to get this mid lane turret. It's really low right now, but it looks like they will have to disengage because the Drake is coming up, Ocean Drake, in about 30 seconds here, and HypE Esports doesn't want to give that over too much. Yeah, a lot of positioning things from both ADCs, and it's actually, I think, a bigger problem for HypE Esports because that Kog'Maw is their win condition here. So if he mispositions and he goes down, that's a lot of sustained damage gone from the side of HypE Esports, and he is the bulk of their kills, 6, 5, and 4, doing really well. Mr. Sarux, though, getting caught out by Rings. He's trying to buy time. The Showstopper comes out, but the exhaust is there. The damage will not be enough. And it's going to be a kill before the side starts, but Duero off on the side as well as Outlander. They're doing work. They're forcing Rings and Neptune out. And now it's Rejected King. He was alone. Had nobody to back him up, and all of a sudden he gets popped there. And that's going to be a free dragon for the side of Rawr Yordlez. So back and forth in this game of throws here. Mr. Shark's getting caught out. The Rejected King just left alone, and you have to question what HypE Esports was doing there by just leaving their ADC, that Kog'Maw, that their composition somewhat built around, on his own. And great play from Duero and Oddlanders. They get a ton of AoE damage over the wall. The positioning there was good, and they do manage to get that, and they'll get the Ocean Drake as well as the bot lane outer turret as a prize for that fight. And now Rings now has to be careful as Outlander and Winter are waiting there to see if he can catch him out. He has managed to back up, and we do see Fluff get smashed, hopping onto him, giving him the speed buff, but they don't want to re-engage this just yet. They don't have vision. They don't know where the rest of Yordlez is, and will have to back up, but they're running around 4-man strong right now. Neptune in that bot side. Now they're clearing out the vision around the dragon, but there won't be any objective there for the next 4.5 minutes. Instead, it's going to be Baron coming up in 20 seconds. It's going to be the major neutral objective for the next little while. And they're sieging up the mid lane, but Mr. Saruk's going to continue his split push on that side there. Doesn't have teleport available, but should be coming up soon, and they're sending Neptune Rises to go deal with him. Neptune has been able to farm up a little bit, so hopefully the gap has been closed in that top lane somewhat. It's still a 2.2k gold lead though, so we'll have to be careful. And we see Mr. Saruk's now flanking from the side. He's going in from behind, but the fight is in the main area as Rejected King gets cut out once more. A beautiful Glacial Prison. We'll see Fluff get smashed, instantly wiped out along with Rejected King, and the positioning on the Rejected King is costing his team the game right now. You cannot play a protect the Cog composition if Cog is constantly getting caught out here, and with that, Rawr Yordlez is going to look to potentially close out the game here as they've killed the bot lane, that mid lane turret real low. The inhibitor turret goes down. The inhibitor now nicks in their eyes here, and the side of HypE Esports has to be careful. Their bot lane has respawned. Rejected King and Fluff get smashed, coming back up. So it will be a 5v5. Yordlez opting to just back out here, but they have control of most of the map in terms of vision around Baron. HypE Esports has none at all. They've only got vision around the dragon, so they're going to have to blind check this, but they see Mr. Sarux in that bot side. They know that they will have a slight advantage in terms of numbers on the side of Yordlez. They're just wandering around as for around the Baron. They've cleared it out, and it looks like they might be trying to set something up here near the Baron pit, potentially, but they don't have the vision. They don't know where HypE Esports is either. So opting to just do the safe play, back out, leave Mr. Saruk split pushing that bot lane with the teleport that he has. Neptune also has the teleport, so we'll be able to match Mr. Saruk's there. Has to be careful. I'm not sure he wants to fight this on his own. He's got the rest of the team coming, but they're a ways away right now. And the showstopper coming out, dragging Neptune out. Neptune taking a ton of damage. Will not be able to get out of here as the... Oh, he does! The shield from Tommy Peppers, the command protect, just barely keeping him alive there. And they do manage to bait the ultimate out of set, so Mr. Saruk will not have his ultimate available for the next little while. They do see Tommy Peppers down there though, and Tommy Peppers does not have teleport. This means that Yordlez will be free to go for that Baron. Will have a numbers advantage if they start this up here. Already clearing the vision out, we can see that here. So on the side of HypE Esports, they're losing a lot of vision. Just got that one there. They know that Baron is likely to be an objective that Yordlez is taking, and Yordlez has already started up. Mr. Saruk's opting to just walk his way there. We'll see Neptune rises, and we'll just fight him, buying time for a team. Even if he goes down here, it's good. The command shockwave does catch him. He does die there, but his team should be able to get Baron, but they're split right now. They want Rinks. They will force the flash out of Rinks there, and Rinks will have to be careful. Will not be able to contest this Baron with impunity right now, and he does have the Yumi onto him, getting a bit of heals, but the baby cage, perfect zoning. Now Neptune rises on the side there onto the back line, but does he have enough damage to get them? Winter07 caught out, will delay the rest of the team, and so they trade one for everyone else. That's still 3 Baron buffs alive on the side of Rawr Yordlez here. But HypE Esports does win that fight 2-0, and they should be able to pick up this mid lane turret, but they opt not to get it. Don't have the minions because the supers were pushing up here. Instead, they're going to opt to try and get this Ocean Drake. They don't want to give the Ocean Soul over to the side of Rawr Yordlez right now because they're already so hard to kill. Giving them even more sustain is a bad idea. 15 seconds till it spawns, and almost all of Yordlez will be up. But it's going to be Nowitzki getting caught out here, but he's a tanky boy, an absolute unit. And instead, Rejected King was left unattended. He gets popped immediately. And Tommy Pepper is forced to go running for the hills. Rinks isolated now. Will go down, and Fluff gets smashed. Nobody to ride on. Will go down as well. And what looks so promising with the catch on Nowinski will instead see a 3-0 turnaround for Rawr Yordlez. And they've got Baron, they've got Ocean Soul, and they can look to end this game as all 5 of them are up available. And they have the minions already in the mid lane. Those super minions were never properly cleared out there. Neptune rises going back now to try and clear that. They're going to pick this red buff, give it over to Oddlander as they continue their push in. They've got the supers, and it looks like Duero might be going to split into the top lane. They're not going to finish it in the mid lane here. Left Mr. Sarux, but he's the one without a Baron buff. Him and Winter07, no Baron buff. Instead, they're going to go for the top lane. Opt for a more methodical closeout here as they look to take that inhibitor turret. And frankly, I'm not sure HypE Esports can defend this one right now. There is good poke coming out from Rejected King. He went from 6-4 to 7-8 right now, so definitely struggling a little bit. And the Living Artillery will have difficulty clearing out the Baroned up siege minions here from the side of Rawr Yordlez. But the auto attacks, the W, allowing him to get that range, will allow him to still be able to clear that somewhat. And they've got Neptune Rises clearing out that mid lane. Does have to be careful. Mr. Saruk's gonna go back to base right now. Does have teleport, so can't join the rest of the team, but they're having problems getting close enough to get damage on that turret right now. And Yordle's just hesitating to pull that trigger. They don't want to fight this under the turret. But Nowitzki playing a bit with fire. Does have all the Ocean Drakes here, and instead it's gonna be Neptune pulling the trigger, going in, but instantly the Rejected King getting popped as Glacial Prison goes down. They do manage to turn around, pick up All-Lander, pick up Nowitzki under that turret, and it's gonna be Duero putting out damage, but that's a late game Vigar at this point. He's absolutely just melting people, manages to pick up a triple kill for Duero, and that might just be game as only Fluff gets smashed still alive on the side of HypE Esports. They have lost the Baron buff though. It took them quite a bit of time. Instead, they'll only get the inhibitor in this top lane, the mid lane as well. Potentially, they might be able to get the inhib there. Mr. Saruk's continuing to split push in the bot lane, and you've kind of got to question it a little bit why HypE Esports didn't pull the trigger earlier in a full 5v5, instead opting to wait till they get engaged on 5v4 under turret. They still do win that fight though, and do manage to pick up 2 inhibitors for themselves. So only the bot lane right now with inhibitor standing and turrets as well. But Sark's going to be able to pick up this inner turn in the bot lane, and so HypE Esports going to get shoved completely in right now, and there's going to be no major neutral objectives for the next 2 minutes or so, and that's going to be Baron, the next one coming up. Elder going to take about 3 minutes, so we'll have a bit of time here to reset, to sort of farm those super minions pushing in, and it's going to be up to Rawr Yordlez right now to decide, you know, what they want to do, how they're going to push in and really try and end this game here, because the game is really theirs to lose at this point. It looks like Rawr Yordlez is going to opt to push into that mid lane right now. They do have these supers in that lane. Bot lane, they don't have supers, but it is a pushing wave for them as well. Will take quite a bit of time to really get there, and they're going to send Odd Lanner down, it looks like. Although the whole team, sorry, pardon me, is going to rotate down to that bot side. They know they've got supers in 2 other lanes, so they can continue to just pressure that bot lane instead. And this is a bit of a do or die moment for HypE Esports. This is about as balanced as they're going to get it. And they get the bandage toss into the front line, but the showstopper pulls them out immediately. Yuumi ultimate coming across will not be able to get much though. Instead, Winter07 tanking up the damage here. They will turn it around on Neptune, so it's top lane is traded, but Rejected King once more getting caught out by the Glacial Prison will go down. And the Protect the Cogmore composition has failed its mission. This might be game here. It's only Rinks, Tommy, and Fluff 2-for-1 trade right now, but they've lost the inhibitor. That's all 3 inhibitors down. Double super minions going to be spawned from here on out, and they have supers pushing in. There's 2 supers in that top wave, and there's going to be another 2 coming in from the mid wave. The bandage toss comes out. It's a lot of damage onto Duero. But it's going to be Tommy Peppers going down instead, despite Rinks being the one to engage, and they're going to turn that around. That's another 2 kills for Rawr Yordlez, and only Fluff gets smashed alive. Will not be able to stop them as they push this in. Both Nexus turrets down. That's the Nexus now going down. 28, 55, 56 going to be the final time here on the game for Rawr Yordlez. Congratulations to them as they win their first game in Coalition League. And if you look here, the scores, it's a really high kill game. 22-30 the kill score here for the side of for the game in a 28-minute game. So lots and lots of kills, and Rejected King got a lot of those kills. The Protect the Cogmaw got the Fed Cogmaw, but they didn't get the Protect side of the composition down. And so despite having 9 kills, he had 10 deaths. Didn't really manage to get a lot of damage down in these fights here. And on the side of Rawr Yordlez, Duero doing work, 11 and 2, and Nowitzki amazingly finding great engages across the board. Glacial Prison constantly finding Rejected King. It almost looked like a point and click the way it was landing on Rejected King there, doing really, really well for himself. And you know, going here into game 2, HypE Esports gonna have to figure out what they can do here to sort of change things up, because the composition didn't really work for them. They did get some great command shockwaves down. Rinks got some great Curse of the Sad Mummies onto the entire enemy team. 4-man, 5-man ultimates. But it's not enough if Rejected King can't stay alive. And so I don't know if they need to find a safer ADC or a bit more peel, but we'll really have to see. And Neptune Rise is also struggling a little bit in lane, and after as well did manage to get a good split push off, but really not effective in those team fights. So maybe a different sort of top laner, either an Ornn maybe or Maokai, somebody a bit more team fight capabilities might be something that HypE Esports might want to look into. And on the side of Rawr Yordlez, really they don't need to change anything. They did really well for themselves. Aphelios though, all ladder, only 4 kills, and again part of that's just because Duero was taking a lot of the kills there. But if they do want to have any change, maybe it would be the ADC, but really they don't need to do that. They are doing extremely well for themselves thus far. And with that, we are going to take a short intermission break here as we set up for game 2 between Rawr Yordlez and HypE Esports, and it's going to be a switch of sides. So Rawr Yordlez is going to be on the blue side for the next game, and HypE Esports is going to be on the red side here. So we'll see you guys in a couple.